What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we are going to jump back over to Marvel Comics and continue our coverage over House of X and Power of X, where we pick up once again with the X-Men right now fighting in space. Because remember, at the end of our last video, the X-Men went to space to go to a certain space station that was being run by a new evil organization known as Orchid, because Orchid is trying to launch a new kind of sentinel, which is Mother Mold. If Mother Mold comes online, then Orchid can mass produce sentinels across the world, which of course means could wipe out the mutant race. And so you have the X-Men right now trying to go into space and to stop that from coming online. But this is a storyline where most of those X-Men are going to die. Well, really, all of the X-Men on that team is going to die. And so if you do enjoy today's comic book video, please hit the like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video. To begin today's video, we actually pick up with Charles Xavier, Beast, Storm, and the Stepford Cuckoos, where we see them right now working on a new kind of project. Now, this new kind of project will give them the ability to actually create some kind of projection so that they can watch and see what is happening right now with the other X-Men team who is out in space right now trying to stop Orchid from launching Mother Mode. Now, as soon as they're able to actually create the projection, well, that is the moment you have Charles Xavier realize that Jean Grey is in pain. Because let's not forget, at the very end of our last video, when the other X-Men team arrived at Orchid space station, well, that was the moment their spaceship got blown up, because the leader of security sacrificed himself to hopefully stop the X-Men. And of course, he was almost able to actually complete that goal. Because when we jump over to that X-Men team who is right now in space trying to stop Orchid from turning Mother Mode online, well, that is the moment you have Jean Grey actually tell Charles Xavier that of course they lost two other team members. Archangel and Husk were both killed in that bomb. And so right now that leaves Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, Mystique, and Monet. Now, Nightcrawler is badly injured, so is Wolverine, even though Wolverine does have a healing factor. But of course, you do have Cyclops say they are going to continue to fight on because they want to make sure that Mother Mode does not come online. And so that is the moment you have Nightcrawler actually teleport a different X-Men member to a different area on the space station. Because right now Mother Mode is being held up by 4 different rods. If they're able to actually release those rods, then Mother Mode can fall right into the sun. And so you have Nightcrawler teleport a member to each of the rods to hopefully get rid of Mother Mode. Now, we actually do pick up with Omega and Dr. Gregor. Now remember, Omega is an Omega Sentinel, meaning that she was a human being given Sentinel body parts, so right now she's half machine, half woman. On top of that, we actually pick up with Dr. Gregor as well. Now, Dr. Gregor is one of the leading scientists for Orchid. On top of that, her husband was the one who was in charge of security, which means he was the one who sacrificed himself to hopefully kill the X-Men. Of course, he did not succeed like he thought he would. But either way though, you do have Omega tell Dr. Gregor to get up. Yes, you did lose somebody special to you, but you must keep fighting, because right now the X-Men are about to win and we need to stop them. And so you do have Dr. Gregor get back up and tell security what the X-Men are planning to do, which is to get rid of the 4 rods to hopefully drop Mother Mold right into the sun. Now, right when she says that, of course, the X-Men were able to get rid of 2 rods, which means there's only 2 rods left. On top of that, you do have security tell Dr. Gregor that some of his security forces are about to attack what's left of the X-Men spaceship. And of course, there's still 2 team members on that spaceship, Jean Grey and Monet, because Monet was badly injured and Jean Grey was just watching over her while the rest of the X-Men continue on to basically complete the mission. And that is when we actually focus on Jean Grey and Monet. And the reason why, because like I said, those spaceships, those security forces, they do begin to breach what is left of the X-Men spaceship. And they begin the process of actually attacking Jean Grey and Monet. And so you have these guys trying to kill both of them, but you didn't have Monet actually push Jean Grey in an escape pod and tell Jean Grey to leave her behind, that she is going to sacrifice herself to basically kill these guys and hoping that Jean Grey can get back to Earth safely. And that is when we see Monet try to take on this whole security force, but of course we know how is that going to end for her. Now, getting back over to the X-Men who are right now trying to get rid of those rods, well, that is the moment we see Cyclops being able to get rid of the 3rd rod, which means right now there's only 1 left, and that last rod comes down to Mystique. Except when Mystique is about to get into that room and she's about to actually get rid of that last rod, well, that is the moment you have her be confronted by Dr. Gregor and also Omega. And of course, this is the moment we see Mystique die, because right when Mystique is about to pull that last lever to let go of the last rod, well, that is the moment you have Dr. Gregor open some kind of hole in the spaceship that actually sucks Mystique right out into space, which of course does kill off Mystique. And so now that is another member on the team who had just died. Now, right after the death of Mystique, well, that is the moment you actually have Dr. Gregor tell Omega that she is going to turn on Mother Mold. And the reason why is because she wants to get rid of the X-Men. She wants to get rid of the mutant race. Now, for Omega, she is kind of okay with this, but not really. And the reason why is because she was told earlier by Dr. Gregor that Mother Mold is a very intelligent AI system. But the problem is they have not run enough tests on the AI system to make sure that it will not go crazy down the road and possibly kill both mutants and humans. And so with that being said, Omega's kind of like, listen, I know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to get rid of the X-Men and also the mutant race. But are you sure that Mother Mold is actually ready? And for Dr. Gregor, to her mindset, they have no choice. And so of course, she turns Mother Mold on. Now, as soon as Dr. Gregor does that, the whole space station announces the announcement, which is Mother Mold will come online very soon. And so that means the X-Men are able to actually hear that news. And of course, you do have Jean Grey tell Charles Xavier back on Earth, listen, we are almost out of time. They just turned on Mother Mold. It will come online very soon. But of course, you have Charles Xavier say, you must stop that no matter the cost, which means you better do whatever you can to actually stop it from coming online. And so that is the moment you have Wolverine and Nightcrawler tell Cyclops they are going to sacrifice themselves because there is only 1 rod left that has to be released to drop Mother Mold right into the sun. And so Wolverine and Nightcrawler are saying, we'll do it. We'll do it right now. Nightcrawler is going to teleport Wolverine right outside onto that last rod so that Wolverine can actually cut it and to hopefully drop Mother Mold right into the sun. The problem is they're too close to the sun. And so as soon as they teleport outside the space station and you have Wolverine and Nightcrawler on that last rod, Nightcrawler instantly burns up. So now Nightcrawler is dead. Now Wolverine is only alive because of his healing factor. But of course, that will not matter. And the reason why is because as soon as Wolverine is able to cut the last rod that was holding Mother Mold, him and Mother Mold both drop into the sun, which of course means Wolverine is now dead, because even though Wolverine has an amazing healing factor, it doesn't matter when it comes to the freaking sun. And so with that being said, Wolverine and Mother Mold are both dead. The X-Men were able to actually complete the mission, but of course now there's only 2 team members left alive, Cyclops and Jean Grey. And so with that, you have Cyclops trying to tell Jean Grey that he'll find a way to get to her space escape pod, and then that they can use their powers to hopefully send them back to Earth. The problem is, while Cyclops is trying to get there, well, he runs into Dr. Gregor and also Omega. And that is the moment you have Dr. Gregor and Omega actually kill off Cyclops. Just like that, Dr. Gregor is so hurt that her husband died that she is on a murder rampage. And so she kills Cyclops, leaving Jean Grey behind. But of course, Jean Grey is also about to die. And the reason why is because, remember, in our last video, right before the husband of Dr. Gregor died, he told her, listen, we do have some robots who could actually help us fight against the X-Men, but they're on Mercury. It will take them forever to get here. Well, they finally arrive, and they all crash land right on top of Jean Grey's escape pod, which of course kills her off too. And so just like that, the whole X-Men team that was sent into space to get rid of Mother Mold has just been killed off. No one had survived, and this hurts Charles Xavier so much. Now we actually do jump back in the past now, where we pick up with Charles Xavier and Magneto. And this seems to be right after Morgan Taggart was able to show both Charles Xavier and Magneto what happened in her past lives. Because we see the two of them working together right now, and they're going to visit Nathaniel Essex, aka Mr. Sinister. Now when they get to his island, well, that is the moment they are confronted by some kind of security guard who looks just like Mr. Sinister, but of course it's not him. It's a clone of Mr. Sinister. But either way, you do have Magneto use his powers to make the security guard let them in so that they'll be able to actually talk to the real Mr. Sinister. Now, once Magneto and Charles Xavier are able to go into the throne room, well, that is the moment they come to find out this whole island is full of clones of Mr. Sinister, but they're only here to talk to the main one. And when they find him, you do have Charles Xavier explain why they are here for. They tell Mr. Sinister that they need his help. They want him to build some kind of database, a database that will hold different data on mutants' DNA and genetics. And the reason why is because it's going to come very important for a bigger project down the road. But the reason why they came for him for this goal is because in the past comics for Marvel Comics, for Mr. Sinister, he was known as somebody who plays around with mutants' DNA and genetics as a way to kind of make a perfect mutant, or multiple perfect mutants. And so right now it's Charles Xavier and Magneto realizing if they want someone to build a database that is holding all the mutants across the world's genetics, it would be Mr. Sinister. Now when they ask him that, well, that is the moment the one they were talking to head gets blown off. And the real Mr. Sinister walks in. And that is the moment he tells us that he is also a mutant. And that is a huge retcon. Because when it came to Mr. Sinister, he was never a mutant. He was just a man who played around with mutant genetics. But now it's Jonathan Hickman telling us that this man is also a mutant. But he does agree to help out Charles Xavier and Magneto with this database. But then we pick up months before the X-Men and the mutant race had arrived on Krakoa, where we pick up with Charles Xavier and Doug Ramsey. Now, Doug Ramsey is better known as Cypher, but Doug has the ability to communicate with anyone or anything across the universe. He is able to learn any language across the universe. And the reason why Charles Xavier brought him here is because Doug will be the one to actually communicate with Krakoa, because Krakoa speaks an entire different language. On top of that, with Doug Ramsey being the one to speak to Krakoa, that means that Doug and Krakoa are going to build some kind of system together. And that is very important, because if you're planning on building an island full of mutants away from the other countries, you want to live on a living island. You want to be able to actually communicate with that living island. But right when Doug Ramsey is able to speak to Krakoa, well, that is the moment you have Krakoa actually tell Doug Ramsey something very important. Now, that is the moment you actually have Krakoa tell Doug Ramsey a very important story, which is that it's about the past of Krakoa. Krakoa said a long time ago it used to be part of a bigger island known as Okara. Okara was two islands that came together into one, Krakoa and Arako, except out of nowhere a gaping hole appeared, and when that gaping hole appeared, someone holding a Twilight sword came out of it and split the island into two, Krakoa and Arako once again. Now, with that hole being open, of course, a bunch of different creatures also came out of it. Now, this new evil force was confronted by Apocalypse and his first four horsemen. And with that being said, Apocalypse and his four horsemen were able to actually defeat this evil force and send them back down the hole they came from. The problem was Arako, that second island, was also sent down into that gaping hole. And so Krakoa is missing its other half, the other half it loves so much. And of course, he told all of this to Doug Ramsey. Now we jump 1,000 years into the future, where humans and machines have come together as one. Now, in our last video, this new race of humans had made something called a world mind, a very intelligent system, but it was consumed by the Phalanx, because the Phalanx is a species that goes around the universe collecting different kinds of intelligent systems. Earth used the world mind to bring the Phalanx here. Having summoned the Phalanx, the first of the elders communicates with them. He presents them with his seer self, a machine vessel which the Phalanx consumes. He asks them to repeat a sequence known only to him, which they do, and then ask if this solution is good to them. Whereupon the Phalanx begins to process the situation. Having witnessed this, the librarian asks what in the world just happened. His companion explains that the Phalanx are the forerunners of a galactic empire believed to have domain over the entirety of the known universe. The Phalanx have the ability to absorb any machine intelligence into its collective. And if that intelligence is found worthy, it will eventually be combined into the empire. However, the process does not work on biological beings. In order to get around this, the man-machine being will copy themselves over to an empty host machine vessel that the Phalanx can absorb. As they await whether or not the Phalanx will find this solution good or not, the Phalanx consumes two of the other elders. Now, we actually do jump back over to the present day, and the reason why is because we pick up with Charles Xavier calling in the Five. Now, the Five are a very important group, and the reason why is because the Five have the ability to actually create life, create a new version of people that had died recently. And so right now we're watching the Five create a new version of the X-Men that had died. So Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Mystique, Monet, Archangel, Husk, The ones that had died earlier, we're watching the 5 being able to create a new version of them. And with that happening, you then have Charles Xavier plant the memories of the old versions into the new version so that we can have a Cyclops once again. We can have a Jean Grey once again, a Wolverine, and so on and so on. Now, with that being said though, this also ties into what Mr. Sinister did earlier, because remember, Charles Xavier and Magneto went to Mr. Sinister before they formed Krakoa, and they asked him to build some kind of database that would hold all the genetics of every mutant across the world. And so with that happening, it played in the process with the 5 to create the new version of the X-Men that had died in the earlier parts of this video. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So with that being said, please hit the like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video.